Well, hello and welcome back to Read Becca. It is time once again to look forward to the next month's reading with hope and aspirations. And so we're looking at my May to be read list. These are all the books I really want to get to right now. And so I may or may not actually get to them. There are lots of readathons going on, but also I'm feeling like mood reading. I know multiple people have some version of mood reading May going on, especially Kim from Oasis of Books. I saw her talk about her mood reading plans, her mood reading whims for the month of May, and really was inspired. So I kind of got buckets here, and I used readathons to inspire me a bit, but also will be following my whims as well. And my first whim and bucket is horror mayhem. So I think in April, we have to jump back in time to my April TBR, where I mentioned that I was feeling horror and haven't been reading very much horror this year. And so horror mayhem is the perfect time to just lean into that feeling. And I've picked up a couple of horror books here to read that are all from authors I've read from before. So I'm giving myself optimal chance for these to be books I'm gonna really enjoy. The first is Rachel Harrison's Black Sheep. I have read one book from Rachel Harrison before, I think her debut in fact. And she has a funny satirical style that I really enjoy. It's quite short, and I think this one is going to be like culty religious horror, so high control religion, and that's something that I personally vibe with a lot. So I think this is maybe my favorite of her work if it pays off. This is the one that appeals to me the most of her work, because she seems to churn out a lot of books, because they have just been coming one right after another, and I haven't kept up, so I want to get back to her work. The next one is a perennial favorite author that I really enjoy, and that is Chuck Wendig, The Staircase in the Woods. This one, I've seen several people read this. I've read a lot of Wendig in many genres, but his horror always seems to have great commentary to it and be very smart, and so I've enjoyed that. This one, I don't think I've heard a ton of people talking about, so I don't think it's going to be a new favorite, perhaps, but I think I'm going to enjoy it because he tends to drag you along with the story. And I think this is about a group of friends that maybe saw something, maybe didn't see something, and they're being pulled back together by one of the friends who doesn't want to let go of thinking about that thing that they maybe shouldn't have seen. And I think it's going to be a staircase in the woods, but yeah, it sounds strange and very curious. But Wendig is always smart and compelling to read and very easy to read. I think he's really readable. So I think this will at very least be something I'm turning pages with. And the last of my horror mayhem books is one I've seen no one talking about, and that is Deadwater by C.A. Fletcher. I have read A Boy and His Dog at the End of the World and loved it. I thought it was so fantastic. It's probably one of my favorite post-apocalyptic stories. It's really smart. It manages to be both gentle and very tense. It's really interesting. And I just haven't seen a lot of people writing like that. So when I saw this on the shelf at the library, I was like, oh wow, they have another book out. I really want to get to it. But the synopsis is very small and strange, and so I'm gonna read it to you, even though I don't normally read synopses. The ravens have already seen a thin line of darkness spill out onto the island, thin and almost imperceptible to start with, like a single drop of ink rolling down a sloping page. They first saw it yesterday as a man in a camo parka took something out of the ground that should have stayed tucked safely away forever. That sounds so strange, and it doesn't really tell me anything about the book, but it's very, very intriguing. So I love that writing. That definitely rings true of Fletcher's previous book. And yeah, that just sucks me in. I'm kind of hoping we will get a raven perspective, since it mentioned ravens. I love an animal perspective, and I could see that. The author did write dogs prominently in A Boy and His Dog, so I really, really am hopeful for this one, though it is on the longer side of these. So I think I'm going to enjoy it, but it's going to take a little bit more time. So those are my horror mayhem selections. Next, let's go to the TBR Reading Spa, which is a year-long readathon that has sort of prompts with flow charts to choose your books for each month. So this one was a tough one because, I'll put it on the screen so you can see the flow chart for the month of May. And it's sort of about your cafe order. So my cafe order doesn't really fit any of these options. We have our seasonal latte, we have a tea or a black coffee. So normally I'm a flat white drinker, and that doesn't really fit. But if I'm out and there's a seasonal latte that's unique, I love to try new things, so I will always go for that. So we're gonna lean into that as my curiosity seeking vibe plays in. Then we have a little bit more tricky, because I don't like sweet things very much. And so I don't really go for either of the options from there, but if I'm getting the seasonal latte that's a specialty item, I will usually go all in on that. So we're gonna say I will take the whipped cream and go all in on the fancy latte. And for that really plays in nicely to my mood, because I have been really wanting to read, much like horror, I've been really wanting to read some romance. I haven't been reading a lot of romance this year. And so I have the perfect romance to pick up that's been on my Kindle since it came out, and I haven't gotten to it, and that is Role Playing by Kathy Yardley. So this is, I think, just a contemporary romance that follows two older protagonists, not like elderly people, but they're fully adults. They're not in their 20s anymore, and they play role-playing games. So not like in the bedroom. They play like role-playing video games, I believe, and they know each other via that. And so I think this is gonna have some mature characters and mature relationships that I'm looking forward to, but also that sense of being gaming nerds is something I can really relate to. So I'm very much looking forward to this one, and I've heard great things, so I definitely am so excited to dive in. Then we have my own contrivance that I've told you about before in April, and that was Spring into Series. So I have 3 books that I showed you in April: Golden Sun, Obelisk Gate, and Harrow the Ninth. I think these are all seconds in series of various lengths, but I want to spend my spring focusing on a lot of sequels and series, and I just didn't happen to get to these in the month of April when I put them out. But that's fine, because I did read 2 other sequels, and in fact, those ones are being added on to my Spring into Series selections. The third in the Marlowe Murder Club, The Queen of Poisons by Robert Thorogood, because I read the second of this series in April. And then I also continued on with the Wayfarer series by Becky Chambers, with the 3rd book in that series. So I'm up to the 4th and final book in this month. So I feel good about the fact that I have been reading sequels and series, but I want to keep going for Spring into Series and really focus on getting some of these series knocked out. So we're continuing on, and I do intend to prioritize some of these that I haven't quite picked up yet. So those are all exciting. And then lastly, and I don't actually know what this readathon is. So you're gonna have to help me here, because I know this readathon exists. I saw multiple announcement videos a couple weeks ago, and they disappeared, and I went searching and couldn't find them. I can't remember who the heck announced. Everyone who I think may have been an announcer, I've looked at their channels and can't find, so I don't know what this is, and I haven't seen anybody adding books for this readathon, but there was some version of a musical readathon. It was not Musical May, it was something about songs or singing in May, or I don't know, but there was a music in May type of readathon. And so I'm not gonna give you any books, in fact, because I started recording a vlog a year ago, more than a year ago, for specifically books with music in sci-fi and fantasy. And I recorded 1 book, and so I'm gonna cheat and continue using that footage from the 1 book I completed, but I had already picked out 2 additional books, and they have been sitting there and just getting shifted backward and backward and backward and not getting picked up. So I want to continue on and finish out that vlog, and I'm taking advantage of whatever this Music in May readathon was in order to reprioritize getting back to those 2 books I had selected for this vlog but never finished out. So it will be 2, well, there will be 3 total, but 1 is a year ago. 3 books in a vlog about music in sci-fi and fantasy. So I'm very excited about those. They've been sitting on the shelf right in front of me for months and months and months, and I just have not been picking them up. So please tell me, if you know what the heck I'm talking about, what this readathon is, because I know people announced it. I just cannot seem to find it because YouTube's search algorithm is terrible. So let me know if you have any idea what I'm talking about. Anyway, with that, we have quite the pile here. This is gonna be an exciting pile. I'm pretty pretty stoked about all of these. And I don't feel like I'm having any massive prioritization about which ones I'm most excited about. They all are feeling like 5s. So I'm really, really hyped for my May reading. Please let me know which of these you are most excited to see me read, or if you've read and loved any of these, I want to hear about it. And please tell me what the heck that music in May readathon is if you know. So with that, I say thank you so very much for watching.